This is our Angles and Triangles unit. Student handout 1, Complementary and Supplementary Angles. Alright, so first thing, angles can be named many ways based on their characteristics. Okay, tomorrow's lesson, we're going to be practicing with the protractors of measuring angles. The biggest mistake a lot of people make in measuring with protractors is they like to line up the plastic bottom part of the protractor with the line. Well, is this bottom part of the protractor right here the actual zero of the measurement? No. That is why they have it lined up with the zero. Okay, so a lot of people make that mistake with protractors. You have to line it up with the zero. But that's, again, majorly tomorrow's discussion. So that is why the little protractor picture is scooped down. All right, so what is the measure of, what is this symbol right here?
Acute.
Anybody, what unit are we in?
Acute.
We're in Angles unit. This symbol means angle. That stands for angle, because remember, math people are lazy. They don't want to write out everything. Geometry, they are extremely lazy, and they have crazy symbols for all sorts of things. We're just only touching a few of them in 7th grade. Right, Allie?
Yep.
Okay, so I have angle CFE that I need to look for. The middle letter is always important because that's going to be the corner of that's where your angle is taking the turn. So if I go to the corner of a wall over here, this is obviously 90 degrees. Contractors use angles a lot. That's 90 degrees. The corner letter is right here in the corner where it takes the turn to the different direction. So in this case, my middle letter is F. So I'm looking at letter or angle CF. I'm taking the turn E. So that is my angle. If you have your highlighter, you can highlight yours. CFE. So the protractor is nice. Notice the top rows of numbers over here. They're increasing on the top and going all the way to 180, right? On the top. What about the bottom over here? 0 starts on this side and goes to 180. The reason they do that is so you don't have to turn your protractor around and flop it all around. So they're being real nice.
Will we
Yeah.
have protractors on like tests and stuff?
They'll give you, see, watch. Can this thing move? On the test, there's a little protractor thing that's like this that you're able to move, and you're able to turn it to line it up with your lines. So there's a computer protractor you're able to measure with. It might only be like one question, and you will see here in a second, you're going to think you can use a protractor, but you're actually using equations to find angles. Very rarely are you using a protractor. All right, skedaddle guy. So back to CFE. So CFE. the line is lined up over here. So would I want to use the top or the bottom row to measure this angle? The bottom. I always start with 0. And 0 goes up, and what is the measure of this angle? 80 degrees. I'm having to draw extra lines because recording this, they won't know what I'm talking about if I'm pointing. Okay. AFC is my next one, so I'm going to highlight highlighting in a different color. AFC is the angle I'm looking at, and I need to measure that. So in this case, am I using the top set of numbers or bottom set of numbers? Top, because it starts at 0, so I'm using the top. And this angle is how many degrees? 100. Because if it's lined up on this side, I always start with 0, so you look for the 0 one. Here, the 0's on top. All right, so I'd like to review a few things next here that you most likely already know. Acute angle. It's a real acute angle. It's an angle that measures what? Less than 90 degrees or below 90 degrees. We remember that because it's cute and small and okay. From our protractor that they have drawn, I see a lot of examples of acute angles. Remember, F has to be my middle letter. So raise your hand if you see an example of an acute angle. There are lots of them. Gabby, what you got?
DFE, BFA.
Wait, one of them. What did you say first? D or B?
D.
DFE, I agree, is an example of an acute angle. What you got, Jaden?
AFB.
AFB is an example of an acute angle. Allie, what you got?
AFC.
AFC, is that an acute angle?
No.
That is 100 degrees. That's over. BFC. BFC is an acute angle. I like it. Haley, what?
Can you do CFD, or does it have to be?
No, we just did BFC, so I bet we can do CFD. That's also an acute angle. Did we list all of them? Nathan, what you got?
CFE.
CFE is also an example. What you got? CF. We did CFD already. All right, so there is a list of all our angles.
Do we have to draw the little?
Well, otherwise you have a bunch of variables sitting beside saying multiplication.
What do you mean?
How much of?
I could make you write the word angle over and over again.
No, I'm good.
All right, obtuse angles. An angle that measures what?
More than 90 degrees.
Oh, you have an example? Angles that measure actually between 90 degrees and 180 is its true definition. Measures between 90 and 180 degrees. There is a couple examples. What you see? AFE. That's actually exactly 180. So is that between 90 and 180?
No.
Not if it's exactly. What you got, Kale? AFD looks obtuse to me. What you got?
AFC.
AFC looks obtuse to me. No new people. Allie, what you got?
Wait, I just forgot.
Oh,
BFE.
Gabby, what?
Oh, BFE.
BFE is obtuse. I think we said them all. We have AFC, AFD, and BFE.
What would BFD be?
BFD. BFD, because
Because if you
from
straighten this,
60 to 100 is 40 degrees. From 100 to 50 is 50 degrees. 50 plus 40 is
That's the
exactly
next
90.
question. So it won't be exactly 180 or exactly 90, it'll be in between them?
Not for obtuse, has to be between them.
I thought it just had to be, probably the 90 degrees. But
Yeah. A lot of people forget the true definition. All right, so a right angle has to have measures what?
Exactly.
Exactly 90 degrees. So Nathan, what is our example there?
BFD.
BFD is our only 90-degree angle. Now, a straight angle is an angle that measures what?
Exactly.
Exactly 180. Well, what's another name for a straight angle?
Line.
A line. It's just a line. A ruler is a straight angle. A sucker is straight.
Paper.
A piece of paper, the edge of it is straight. Okay, those are straight angles. I see one example of a straight angle. Let's get Ava. What is my example of a straight angle? AFE is my example of a straight angle. Thank you. Best friend?
Does it always have to go left to right? Or does it go
They typically like to put the alphabet first, then the middle number or letter.
Does it have, is the,
No.
is it the-
AFE is the same angle as EFA.
I have a question.
Oh,
So is the circle thing always going to be the middle of it?
Yes.
Okay.
That's like saying if I saw a list of names and I was looking for my name. If I saw Ashley Adams, I was like, oh, that's my name. But if I saw Adams, Ashley, I'd be like, oh, that's me too, right? Am I different people just because they wrote it different? No, I'm the same person. Just like they're the same person if they wrote the name backwards. You just don't really, you just typically say Ashley Adams instead of Adams Ashley, right?
That
Yeah.
sounds like Adam's actually.
Kind of. Okay, so our two new words is complementary and supplementary. This is our two new 7th grade words that you have probably not heard before. Complementary is a pair of angles. So pair means two. So it's two angles that have a sum. What does sum mean? Add. So it's two angles that add up to 90 degrees. So the definition of complementary is two angles that add up to 90 degrees. Well, I'm pretty sure Nathan found a 90-degree angle earlier. That was the 90-degree angle he found. Do you see two angles inside of that are adding up to 90 degrees?
BFC and CFD.
BFC and CFD are your complementary angles because they're adding up to 90 degrees. What is the measure of BFC? Well, it goes from 60 to 100, so it's 40. Then 100 to 50 is
50.
Well, 50 plus 40 gives me that 90 degrees, so I know those two are complementary angles. Was the catch hard?
No, not that hard.
What's the second one, Miss Adams?
DFE, AFB, and DFE. Okay, next we have supplementary. Supplementary is again a pair of angles. So how many angles? Two. That have a sum. So again we're adding. What do you think the sum would be now? 180. Supplementary means 180. Okay, so what was our example of a supplementary angle up here?
AFE.
Oh my gosh.
AFE. Okay, I see several supplementary angles. Gabby, what do you see?
AFC and CFE.
AFC and CFE. See how both of those together will form that 180 degree angle. I see another set. What's another set we see? What you got?
AFD.
AFD,
DFC.
DFE. Those two are forming 180 degrees. I see one more.
AFB and BFE.
AFB and BFE are forming 180 degrees.
So basically everything.
Well, in this case, this example, yes. What? So those are your examples that add up to 180.
Do we always have to put F in there?
F always goes in the middle in this example because F is listed in the middle. It's my corner, known as a vertex, but y'all haven't learned vertex yet.
So the center point of
Yeah, we learned that.
Oh, we
You
learned
did? It's not necessarily a circle. Vertex kind of just means a point of an, or around any kind of shape, really.
yeah.
Doesn't have to be round. All right, so we're going to practice what we have learned, kind of putting a few things together. By writing and solving equations, we can determine missing angle measures in various angle relationships. Just a little, you know, I'm famous for all my tricks. So I just always remember C90 S180 because C stands for complementary. So complementary means 90 degrees. Supplementary stands for 180 degrees. Kind of how I remembered it when I was little is that C came before S in the alphabet, and 90 comes before 180 in the alphabet, so that's just kind of how, in the number line. So that's just kind of how I remembered it. I can't read with the paper folder down.
Okay, well, I don't have a back to this paper.
Oh, okay. I can help you out.
Yeah, I was saying, can you pause it?
Oh, well, the paper fell like this and I couldn't read it.
Oh, shoot.
All right, so now look at the problems 1 and 2. Has this been all class?
No, he just did there.
Anyways, so is number 1 or number 2 an example of a complementary angle?
2.
2 is an example of complementary. So I'm just going to jot complementary. So what is number 1 an example of? Supplementary. Okay. That's going to help me with solving this. Well, they don't want me to solve it actually. All they want is an equation. Equations have what kind of symbol? An equal sign. Well, and what do I know about supplementary angles? They equal what?
180.
180. So I know it's going to equal 180. Well, what two things have to add up to? How did I know add? It was in my definition. What two things have to add up to 180 on this problem? 136 and x. There's my equation. Could I have written x plus 136?
Yes.
I could have.
So this is basically just adding and subtracting. So it says
Yep.
sum.
They didn't even want me to find the answer to this. Just an equation. Well, number 2, I know it is commutative property. You got me all. Complementary angles. So I know that equals what? 90. Well, what two things have to equal 90?
74 and x.
X plus 74, or 74 plus x equals 90.
Do you always have to put a degree?
In your final answer, yes, but not in your equations.
In like your work?
Not your work. Just your final answer, yeah. So that was hard right there. I know I probably racked your brain.
Very much.
You probably
Are you
can't
being
take much more.
sarcastic?
Yes, I am.
I think I can.
So, let's move to 3. Example of complementary or supplementary? Complementary. I've got to again write an equation. Oh, but first, underline this and draw an arrow to the side. Because again, math people are lazy. We didn't want to write all of this out, so we came up with lots of symbols. And what this means is, I don't have room on the side, so you can write it on the side. It means measure of angle 1. So instead of writing all that, I wrote an M with the angle symbol 1.
Do you have to put n equals or you just put the number?
Oh. I ain't there yet. Just hold on. Alright, they said the measure of angle 1 equals 42.8. So I know this angle right there is 42.8. They want us to write an equation. Well, what does my equation need to look like?
40. You have to have an x.
It's got to have an x. So you want to call this guy x, okay? So what's my equation?
42.8 plus x equals 90.
Or x plus 42.8 equals 90. There's my equation. Well, back when we solved equations, like last unit and the unit before, how would I go about solving this? You would subtract 42.8 from both sides. I could sit here and write minus 42. I can't write that small on the board. I could subtract and find what my 2 is. You could do it on your calculator. What's 90 minus 42.8?
37.2.
47.2 degrees. 90 minus 42.8 gives me 47.2 degrees. How do I know?
Because you subtracted.
If I was to add these two together, what should I get?
90.
I should get 90. And if I don't, I did something wrong.
Is that how you check your work?
Yep.
What do you really do?
So you know how like other ways, like this stuff, we have to check our work. This is like the actual easy checking your work one.
Yes.
Like the other one is all complicated. This one's
This is the exact same stuff. It's just not having to write it out that other way. This is just putting it into real life kind of stuff. All right, so number 4. What does it read? The How do I-
Measure of angle 2.
measure of angle 2 equals 65.6. So this is 65.6 degrees. We'll call this guy X. What would my equation be?
X plus 65.6 equals 180.
X plus 65.6 equals 180. Sounds wonderful. What would I do to solve this?
180 minus 65.6.
180 minus 65.6. I could write out all my work. 114.4 degrees is my final answer. And how do I know? You add them, and what should it equal?
180.
Should equal 180, and it does.
This is easy. This is probably the easiest.
This is the easiest one yet.
Okay, 2 more problems. This time they didn't give me a sketch. So I like looking at sketches of angles because it helps my brain think about stuff. So I like drawing a sketch. If you can visualize it without a sketch, good for you. Okay, number 5 says 2 angles are complementary. So what does complementary mean?
90 degrees.
90 degrees. So I'm going to sketch a right angle. And I know there's 2 angles, so I'm going to put a random slant angle here to make 2 angles. One of the angles is how much? It's 15 degrees. I'm going to put that guy right there. And I've got to find the other angle. Well, they came up with a sketch. Let's see if my sketch is anywhere close to theirs. Is it?
Yeah, just opposite.
It's just kind of opposite. What does that square mean?
That's
Right. It means 90-degree angle, okay? Do I care that my sketch isn't really like theirs?
No.
It's a sketch just for my brain to think about stuff, so I really don't care. Okay, so what would my equation be for this? 15 plus x
equals 90.
equals 90. How would you solve that?
9 minus 15.
Subtract 15, and what does x equal?
75.
75 degrees. All right, 6 says angle ABE and DBE are supplementary angles. What's supplementary?
180.
180 degrees. So I'm going to draw a straight line, as straight as I can. All right, and I'm going to draw a random line like that because I know it has to be 2 angles. And I told you the
Miss Adams,
yes?
I need Carly Jordan in the office to check out, please.
Okay. I told you something important about that middle letter. What about that middle letter?
Always has to be on
the middle.
It has to be in the middle. So what are we calling the middle letter this time?
B.
B. So B is located there. So I need to label the other. I have A, B, E. I'm going to call this A, B, then E there. Then the other one is D, B, E. So this has to be D. Let's see if my diagram is the same. Oh, no. Oh, well. Mine still works.
It's just backwards.
It's just backwards, yeah.
Wait, why would,
Okay, so I know ABE is 61 degrees. I need to find this angle. What would my equation be?
X plus 61
Equals 180. Okay, how would I solve that? Subtract 61 to both sides, and what does X equal? 119. Their equation is written different. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I want to look at your homework next and start a couple problems with you at the bottom chart. So look at your homework 1, the bottom chart. And the first row says 32, correct?
Yes.
Then the next column title is labeled Angle Characteristics. Classifications, okay. What they want there is you to say acute, obtuse, right, straight. Well, what would a 32-degree angle be?
Acute.
So I would write acute. Then it says its complementary angle. So I need its partner that would add up to how much? 90. Then it says its supplementary angle. So then I would need its partner that adds up to 180. Okay? I'm not going to do that part for you, but I want to look at the next one. I think it says 70.
75, I think.
No, 5. 75. Well, it gave me a supplementary angle of 75. So this number and this number should add up to how much? 180. So I would just subtract it to get this guy, then fill in the rest of my chart. This guy ends up being like 105, I think.
Yes.
Okay. Well, is 105 degrees going to have a complementary angle? No. So you would just draw a line through that box.
Okay.
Because in the directions it says not all boxes can be filled in. So if it can't work, you just draw a line.
Would you put 0 degree right here?
No.
So
You
you
draw a
just put
line.
nothing?
What's that?
Okay, so work on homework 1. Thanks for learning and hope you make good grades.